Hello, and welcome to today's Focus on the Test mini lesson. Welcome to all of our subscribers, and thank you very much for joining us. Also to our students, continue the excellent progress that you're making, and remember that your labor is not in vain. It will pay off in the end. If you're an adult seeking to earn your high school credential, be sure to check out our website at www.yourpathforadultlearners.com, where you can learn more about our online GED and Hiset program. So now on to our lesson for the day.
Hello everyone. So today's lesson is going to be on multi-step equations. We're going to look at a few problems and we're going to solve them. Now I tried to identify the ones that I thought were most difficult. So let's see how to solve them. Let's look. Enroll in YourPath today and get access to what our students get access to daily. Get access to online personalized GED, Hiset, and TABE courses, 24 hours, 7 days a week, individualized instructional guidance and a progress plan, study workbooks, learning materials and tools to reinforce your learning, tutoring, cap and gown, diploma cover, certificate of completion, test fees reimbursement, professional career academic coaching from IFC certified coaches, and Next Step services. Enroll today. YourPath wants to take a moment to congratulate its 2022 graduates. Congratulations, graduates, a job very well done. We are looking forward to more graduates. You still have time. 2022 is not over yet. We have a few announcements. Congratulations to Mr. Antone on earning perfect Hiset scores in social studies and science. Congratulations, Mr. Antone, a job exceptionally well done. Welcome to our new board members, Dr. Jones, Vice Chairman, Dr. Moulton, Secretary, Dr. Berkeley, Committee Member, and Dr. Haley, Committee Member. It is our summer break. YourPath is on summer break from July 1st through July 31st. We will resume regular operating hours on August 1st, 2022. Enjoy your summer break, everyone. YourPath would like to take this opportunity to say happy birthday to all of our students born in the month of August. We are wishing you a happy birthday and may you see many more to come. At problem number 2. For problem number 2, we have negative x plus 8 equals 5. So we're going to go to the whiteboard and we're going to solve number 2. So let me write that out. We have negative x plus 8 equals 5. So now in order to solve this problem, we are solving for x. So we're going to start by getting rid of the 8, the positive 8 here. To do that, we're going to minus out this 8. And remember what we do on one side, we also do on the other side, right? So that's going to cancel out the 8s here. That's going to give us negative x on this side. And then we have negative 8 and a positive 5. We're going to subtract. That's going to give us a negative 3. Okay? Now we need to get rid of the negative sign because we want this to be a positive x. To do that, we're going to divide by a negative 1 because what this means, this negative x actually means negative 1 times x. So a negative 1 times x gives us a negative x. Because remember, any number times x, or any number times 1 rather, gives you that number. And because it's a negative 1, we have a negative here. So we just need to get rid of this negative. And we're going to do that because the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by negative 1. What we do on one side, we must also do on the other side. So keep that in mind. When we divide a negative into a negative, that gives us a positive x. That leaves us with a positive x. And then we have a negative 1 into a negative 3 gives us 3. All right, so for number 2, we have 3. All right, so now let's look at number 4. We're going to go back to the worksheet. I'm going to clear the board. Let's go to another board. And number 4, we have negative 2. We have a negative times 2 minus x, and this is in parentheses, equals 5. All right, so let's go to the board again. And we're going to write out this problem. We have a negative 2. Oh, I'm sorry, that is not correct. It should be in parentheses. So we have a negative, then we have parentheses 2 minus 8, in parentheses, equals 5. So the first thing we're going to do in solving this problem is we're going to use the distributive property, okay? Because we need to get rid of our parentheses. So we have a negative times 2 will give us a negative 2. And then we have a negative times a negative x will give us a positive x, because a negative times a negative, according to the rule, will give us a positive. Now we have gotten rid of our parentheses, and we're going to bring down our 5, our equal sign and 5. Now we're ready to solve for x. We need to get rid of this negative 2 so we can isolate our x, okay? To do that, we're going to add a 2 here. And what we do on one side, we also must do on the other side. So we're going to add a 2 here as well. Now we're ready to solve. That's going to eliminate our 2's, leaving us with x. And we don't need to bring down the positive because this is a positive x. So we have x equals, and now we have 5 plus 2 gives us 7. All right, so for problem number 4, x is equal to 7. Okay, so now let's look at problem number 13. I'm going to clear the board. And let's look at problem number 13. For problem number 13, we have 2, and this is in parentheses, times 2 minus 2x, close parentheses, equals 20. Okay, so we're going to go to the board and solve this problem. Let's go to the board. We're going to rewrite the problem. And we have 2, open parentheses, 2 minus 2x, close parentheses, equals 20. So to solve this problem, the first thing you need to do is you need to use the distributive property to get rid of your parentheses. So that's what we're going to do first. We have 2 times 2 will give us 4. And then 2 times a negative 2x will give us a negative 4x, because we have a positive and a negative that gives us a negative 4x. We have gotten rid of our parentheses. We can now bring down our equal sign and 20. And now we are going to solve for x. All right, so let's do that. The first thing that we need to do is get rid of this 4 here, okay? Because remember, we are trying to isolate our x. That means to get it by itself. So we're going to, since we have a positive 4, we're going to subtract 4. All right, and what we do on one side, we must also do on the other side. So we're going to minus out 4 here as well. Now, these 4's here will self-eliminate, leaving us with a negative 4x on the left side equals, we have a positive 20, a negative 4, we're subtracting, that's going to give us 16. Okay. And now what we have to do is get rid of this negative 4, all right? To do that, since we are multiplying a -4 times x, the opposite of multiplication is division, so we're going to divide a -4 here. What we do on one side, we must also do on the opposite side, so we have to do a -4 here as well. These two 4s are going to self-eliminate because a -4 divided into a -4 gives us a +1. We do not need to bring down that 1. The only thing we need to do is write x here because 1 times any number, 1 times x will give us x. 1 times any number will give you that number. So we just write x here equals, we have a -4 into 16, and a negative and a positive will give us a negative, all right, and 4 goes into 16 4 times. So our answer for number 13 is x equals -4. Okay? So now let's look at another problem. We're going to look at problem number 17, because problem number 17 was also a challenging problem. All right? So here we have a -28 equals 2x plus 12x. Now, the reason I want to look at this particular problem is that it's sort of written in the reverse, okay? Usually it's written in the opposite way. So we're going to go to the whiteboard and we're going to solve this particular problem, all right? So that when we see a problem like that, we're not intimidated by it, okay? So let's look at number 17. We have -28 equals, and we have 2x plus 12x. Now, the first thing that you need to do when you look at this particular problem is you need to be thinking to yourself, combining like terms. Okay, so that's the first thing that you're going to do because you have like terms here that you can actually combine. And these are your like terms right here, and they can be combined. So we have 2x, and 2x plus 12x will give us 14x equals a -28. Now that you have combined your like terms, remember you're still solving for x in this case. Now we have 14 times x because this is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So in order to get rid of this 14, which is by this x, which we're trying to get by itself, this x, we're going to divide by 14. Okay? What you do on one side, you must also do on the other side. Okay? That means that these two 14s are going to cancel out because 14 divided into 14 is 1, right? 1 times x will give us x, so we don't have to bring down that 1. All right? You do not need to write it like this. Okay? Just bring down your x. Now, on the opposite side, we have 14 into a -28. Well, according to the rules, a negative and a positive, when you're dividing, will give you a negative. So we already know we have a negative. And then 14 into 28 is 2. Okay? So in this case, x equals a -2. It's just written in the reverse. It is also true if it was written this way as well. Okay. So that is how you will solve problem number 17, which is a -2. All right. So the next problem I want to assist you with solving is problem number 20. All right. So let's look at problem number 20. The reason why I selected this particular problem is because you had a lot of negatives here. And when you see a lot of negatives in an algebra equation, they can be intimidating, all right? But again, you do not need to be intimidated as long as you keep in mind what steps you need to take And keep in mind that you are solving for x, okay? So let's look at number 20. We have 12 minus 2x equals a negative 8 minus x. So let's go to the board again and write out this equation. All right, so here we have 12 minus 2x equals negative 8 minus x. Okay? So in this case, what we need to do is we need to get our x's on the same side. Okay? Either we're going to move this negative 2x to the right, or we're going to move this negative x to the left. All right? The first thing that should come to your mind is what would be the easiest way to do it. Okay? Let's move our negative 2. All right, so here I'm going to add a positive 2 here because I need to get rid of this 2x, this negative 2x. I'm going to add a positive 2x here because I want to move my 2x over to this side. Okay, so by doing that, that's going to leave me with 12 equals a negative 8, and now I have a positive 2x, a negative x. That's going to give me a positive x. Okay? Because we're going to subtract. Okay. So now I need to, again, isolate my x, which means that I need to get rid of this 8. I need to move this 8, get rid of this negative 8. I do that by adding 8 here equals what I do on one side, I must also do on the other side. So I'm going to add an 8 here, and then I'm going to solve. These 8's here self-eliminate, leaving me with x, because I'm going to bring down this x, equals, and now I have 12 plus 8 will give me 20. So in this case, x equals 20. Okay? And that is for number 20. Another problem I found to be challenging is number 23. Let's go to number 23. So here you have 24 equals a negative 4 in parentheses minus 8 plus 8. Okay? So now let's go to the board and solve this problem here. I'm going to write it out. We have 24 equals, open parentheses, negative 4x, close parentheses, minus 8 plus 8. Okay? So now when you look at this particular problem, the first thing that should draw your attention is a negative 8 and a positive 8 immediately cancels each other out. That's a 0. Okay? So now we have this negative 4x, which we can just write as 4x, and 24. So now we need to get rid of our negative 4 because we need to isolate our x. We do that by dividing a negative 4 because the opposite of multiplication is division. Okay? What we do on one side, we must also do on the other side when you're dealing with algebra equations. Okay? So now we have a negative 4 and a negative 4 gives us 1. We don't need to bring down the 1. We're just going to write x equals, because these two 4's cancel each other out. So we have x equals a negative 4 into 24. A negative and a positive when you're dividing gives you a negative. You need to make sure that you know the rules. And then 4 into 24 will give us 6. And so x is equal to a negative 6. Okay, and that is for number 23. Okay, so now let's look at one other problem. Yeah, one other problem, and that's going to be number 28, which is a little different as well. So for number 28, we have a negative 7 minus 3x equals 2, open parentheses, 3 times 3 minus 2x, close parentheses. So now we're going to go to the whiteboard, we're going to clear our board, and we're going to write out this problem so that we can solve it. Okay, that's number 28. We have a negative 7 minus 3x equals 2 times 3 minus 2x, close parentheses. Okay? So now, when you look at this problem, the first thing you should think to yourself is, I need to get rid of my parentheses. Okay? In order to do that, you need to use the distributive property. So we're going to multiply 2 times 3, which would give us 6. I'm going to put our equal sign here. And then we're going to multiply 2 times a negative 2x, which would give us a negative, because a positive times a negative will always give you a negative. Then 2 times 2 is 4, and we bring down our x. So now we have gotten rid of our parentheses. We can go over to the left side and bring down this expression as well. Negative 7 minus 3x. Now what we need to do is we need to get our like terms on the same side, okay, so that we can solve for x. So we either need to move this negative 3x over to the right or this negative 4x over to the left, okay? In this case, I'm going to move the negative 3x. It really doesn't matter which one you move. You always want to look for a way to actually make your x positive, or whatever term is next to your x positive, so that you won't have to get rid of the negative, okay? So let's get rid of the 3x here. We're going to add 3x here. What we do on one side, we must also do on the other side, so we're going to add a 3x here, okay? Unfortunately, when I solve, that's going to give me a negative. All right, I don't want a negative. So I'm going to, now you don't necessarily have to do this. I'm just going to do it because I can look at this problem and see that I'm going to get a negative and I'm going to have to solve it further. So I'm going to change that and I'm going to add a positive 4x here. What I do on one side, I have to also do on the other side. And this is going to allow me to have a positive x so that I won't have to get rid of any negatives. All right, so here, the 4's here will actually self-eliminate, leaving me with 6 on this side of the equation. And now I have a negative 7, a positive 4x, a negative 3x will give me a positive x. And this is what I actually wanted. I wanted to have a positive x as opposed to a negative x. And then I would have to get rid of this negative, because remember, we're trying to solve for x, okay? So now what I need to do is I need to isolate my x. I need to get it alone. So I'm going to get rid of this 7. The way I do that is I'm going to add 7 here. What I do on one side, I must also do on the other side, okay? This is going to leave me with x, because the 2 7's will self-eliminate. I'll have x equals 6 plus 7 will give me 13. So in this case, I have x is equal to 13. All right, and that's number 28. Okay, so we have solved 7 problems on how to solve multi-step equations. I am sure that This lesson will definitely help our students as they are required to complete assignments like this in their coursework. I hope that it has also helped you. I wish all of you to have a great day and stay blessed. Bye-bye.
So good luck testing. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification button down below so that you're notified on our new releases. Also, join us on our other social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.